Hey, everybody, I'm Rob.
And I'm Chad.
And we're the Bucket Dads. This week, we're going to be covering a lot of things that you parents definitely want to know. We're talking about parents that are just maybe on their first year of travel ball. Well, really for parents that are on their first year of travel ball, but also for parents that may have been around for a year or so, but maybe they're at the sea level and they don't really understand that there's a different type of atmosphere when you go up from the C to a B.
Yeah, different etiquette, and there's different ways to approach things, and it's a little more tight-knit group. It's more than just like a, 8 to 12 week spin dry course. It's pretty much all year round.
Yep.
So we're going to get into some of that.
And a lot more on this week's episode of the Bucket Dads.
Let's roll.
Oh, it's that Bucket Dad energy with the Bucket Dad. 40 and jacked in the stands, not a folding chair. Nah, with a 6-gallon plan. Fastpitch is life, D1 is the mission. We push them hard, ain't no time for permission. From the weight room to the plate, we spit motivation. Yeah, we yell at the but it's pure dedication. Got the podcast booming, the whole team listen. Big dudes, big hearts, and the scholarship glistening. Big dudes, big hearts, and the scholarship glistening.
So Chad,
What a wild week, huh?
yeah, it's been a crazy week. So just a little bit of recap for those of you that watched last episode.
Yeah.
My daughter Zeva, tried out for the All-American Games.
Yeah.
And
Shout out to the Diva.
wow, she actually made it as an alternate for the second tryouts.
Yeah.
And I mean, I didn't even think she was even gonna do.
I was going to say we should replay some of the. I'm watching it right now. The episode would just drop.
Yeah.
About to drop right now, so I'm watching it right now.
Yeah.
And it's funny because I already know the outcome as I'm watching this.
Yeah.
And,
right.
And so you're like, no, you didn't think she was going to make it, bro. You didn't think. So we should put that right now. But it's all
I don't believe Zeva made it.
The competition was tough.
It was tough, and
But Zeva was tough.
She made it as an alternate.
Yeah.
I have no idea what number alternate she was, but they said that they were going to give her a call back or let us know within 24 hours. And it was like,
and then as an alternate, that means like if someone doesn't show up or someone decides they want to back out or something happens like that, they got an alternate.
Yeah, because they send everybody an email, right? And they say everybody has 24 hours to respond. And if you don't respond, then we go with the alternates.
Yeah.
So apparently her spin pitching and her accuracy that I was talking about must have done something.
It's funny because going back to the whole thing and just watching the podcast, you were talking about it. That was one of the things you at first you thought you were thinking that was holding her back was because she was pitching really accurate, but she wasn't throwing very fast. You were saying something about high 40s. I asked you what the average was. There was blah, 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 blah. And then about, I don't know, 10 or 15 minutes, maybe not that long, whatever, into the episode, you said something about, what it really comes down to is can they hit their mark and boom, 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 and the spin. And I'm going to tell you right now, I think that's what caught the eye, bro.
I think so too. Yeah. I think so too. And
her cheeky glasses that she doesn't wear no more.
She actually had her glasses on. Now she just got contacts. And let me tell you something, man.
I really haven't got to see her.
She's a lot better. She's better at hitting and she's better at pitching now. She has contacts and she can see everything. She doesn't have the frames getting in her way.
Yeah.
It's pretty awesome. But so hey, shout out to Dave Adelhart, the commissioner, USA Softball. He put on a really good tryout and he actually took some time to get to know Zeva. I was like I said in the last episode, I was really, really impressed. And it sucks that she didn't make it, but at the same time, this is a really good confidence builder for her.
Right. So just to recap, she got selected as an alternate, but everybody accepted. Everybody accepted.
So but she's not out of the loop yet. If someone gets injured before those games,
the best thing is like you also said is you would suspect like next year as a second year, right? And she's already got the attention. Like she's already there. Mm-hmm. If they still have the tryout out here, again. So kudos to her, man. Red, and that just goes, she puts in the work, and you really put, you push that. So kudos on you too, because honestly, honestly, like our kids are rad. Our kids are rad, and they'll do great things. But if you don't push them to do great things, they're going to do dumb things, really.
Yeah.
And they'll just do lame things all the time. So it takes every rock star kid has rock star parent.
Well, thanks. Yeah, I think that's true. You know, you have to push them. From what I've heard from other people that have been in the game for a while, you have to push them to around like 13, 14, and then they just start pushing themselves.
Right.
So, and that's kind of how it's feeling. Although it's true, but like, you know, some of the girls who are older on her team, you can tell that they are a little more mature and they're pushing themselves a little bit more.
Right.
You know, they're asking dad, hey, let's go to the field. Let's do this.
Right.
You know, so.
And that kind of goes back to what we're going to talk about is that whole kind of transition. And it takes place. Obviously, our girls are only 11 years old. This is your second year on a travel ball team, as a first year 12U team. So this is our second year too. It's just, we were on a C level. And this is Abby's first year on a higher level team. You know, it goes to show that you really got to push them.
Let's talk real quick about that transitioning from rec to C to maybe even BC and then to B, because I mean, and this is not by any means, we are not throwing shade at any team or anything like that. This is just real talk. All right. For you parents, so you understand what's going to happen. You know, I can tell you from my experience, at the rec level, it is all candy and rainbows and butterflies, and you know you can make a horrible play and everybody's like, good job, you did great, or like you missed a catch and it's good job, you know, great job. Well, that changes as you start to go through the levels, and if you're not used to that, especially if you're someone that maybe doesn't go to practice all the time, and all of a sudden you show up to the game, you're getting kind of pissed off because the parents aren't like good, you know, cheering your kid along. It's like bunch of fucking haters. Yeah. That's not what it is at all. No. It's just competitive, you know. They're just competitive. But
you'll hear different things though, you know, and that's what we're going to get into. You'll hear different things, like say for instance, you might see a team when a player strikes out.
Mm-hmm.
Great swing.
Mm-hmm.
Great swing, looking good.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
And then but deep down inside we're all kind of like, well, some of us are kind of like, well, actually, it was kind of a crappy swing. That's why she missed the ball.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, and so do you want to sit there and just try to, are we doing it to pump up their, you know, self-esteem and to get them to kind of jacked? You know what I mean? And feed them full of like false whatever.
Bullshit.
Right?
Bullshit.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What happens on the so when even between like say C and B, you know what I mean? It's more like, hey, and there's a correction here, and you got a good coach that tells you what to do to make a correction. And hey, get in there, quit looking, you know, or don't quit lifting your head, telling you what you're doing wrong instead of, hey, great swing, because obviously it wasn't a great swing. You just struck out. There was 3 horrible swings.
Yeah. And to go along with that is like, you know, they do strike out.
And I'm guilty of it. Dude. I do that too. I do it to my kid because I don't want her to feel bad out there for striking out. So you go, good, baby. You look good, baby. We'll get it next time.
Yeah.
Yeah. You talk to your mom. And you don't want to sit there and go, you know what? You got to do a better job, blah, blah, blah.
No, it's funny because like last season, I kind of did that through like, you know, fall and like spring.
Yeah.
But then it started like getting fewer and far between. I'd be like, hey, I mean, if it was a really good swing, she was just under it. Yeah. I'd just be like, hey, well, at least you went down swinging and you didn't go down looking, right? Because that's the cardinal sin. Don't go down looking. Right. You know? And especially a pitcher going down looking. It's like, you know the zone. You're pitching to the zone. You know what the umpire zone is. Don't watch a freaking strike go by. Right. You know? Right. But now, you know, it's like, you
that's
know,
another one you don't really see, is giving up that first one a lot, you know?
What?
Just giving up that first pitch a lot.
Yeah. You know, that's the thing. It's like, you know, last season I remember Gary was our coach, assistant coach, was telling the girls, we're not swinging the first pitch.
That's right.
I'm thinking to myself, buddy, I don't know if you know that. I mean, you probably know this, but I don't know if you really know this, but the best pitch of an at bat is usually the first pitch, because they're always trying to get that first strike. Sure. You know? And I mean, I just read about that recently. I was like, dude, you're not going to see probably a better pitch in a bat other than the first pitch.
And especially at this level, I think it's a wise idea to just, if you see it coming, if it looks good, to take it.
Yeah. I mean, plus you're getting up there all amped and everything.
But, you know I don't want to say, you did anything.
No. I mean, I'm sure he understands from his experience that, like, especially at the 10U level where the girls don't really have the best mechanics and stuff like that, you know, like, just get into the groove, watch that first pitch go by. But once you watch that first pitch go by, if they're a good pitcher,
dang it,
good luck, you know.
Ouch.
So, you know, other things about going from like the rec to competitive.
Yeah.
The amount of practicing right? A lot of parents aren't ready for the amount of practicing that takes place. So there's a lot more practicing. Practices are longer,
Yep.
you know, and what happens is that you're also used to players, you know, you're getting equal playing time and pretty much playing like all the different positions at some point in time.
Sure.
Right. And that doesn't happen when you get travel ball, man.
Well, you got to remember too,
You know?
your organization. Let's be real. I think one of the big differences between Park and Rec, HGSA, and travel ball, obviously, is this is a business, and travel ball. At the end of the day, it's a business,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And you're not trying to put you're trying to put good hardware on the wall.
Yeah.
This is what we do.
Yeah. And you're trying to keep your sponsors
you're
happy.
trying to keep your sponsors happy.
You know, in the beginning, you might not have sponsors, but once you start getting going, you turn into an elite team, and like, you know, you're talking about having to pay for freaking plane tickets and all kinds of stuff because kids can't be affording freaking $7,000-8,000 a year. You got to start getting some sponsors.
HGSA, you're liable to get more coaches, more like my level. You know what I mean? You know, Park and Rec, you're going to get a coach like me, a guy that's barely got any time to really do much more after work because I work my butt off.
Yeah.
I'll just give you everything I can, but at the end of the day, that's a big jump too, is you get way different coaching.
Yeah.
And even and I'm not just saying all travel ball coaches are different. There's just, you know, different organizations pay for what you get. I'll just leave it at that. You know, you want to develop. You gotta be a little. You gotta be a good coach, man.
Yeah, yeah,
and the practicing, like you're saying.
Yeah, and like speaking about the coaches, so there's obviously you got daddy ball issues, and let me just explain something to you guys real quick. Oh, I was reading some posts the other day, like in some group about daddy ball. I see him probably once a week because I'm part of like 25, 30 different freaking Facebook groups, man. So I see all the drama throughout the United States all the time, right? So I got all kinds of ammunition for this podcast, Chad. I got all kinds of stuff. So anyways, someone's talking about daddy ball, this and that, and I'm like, you know, dude, unless you're playing for a non-parent coach team, which is usually a paid coach team,
right,
you're always going to run into daddy ball, quote unquote, like favoritism type of stuff, but specifically with their daughter. Now, it's one thing, you know, like I actually put a post out this the other day, and like, cause like, you know, like I just saw this, like in one of these groups, there was like this complaint that happened in like a post, and it actually went like multiple days through multiple posts. It was like part 1, part 2, part 3. I was like, dude, guys, you guys are going to freaking drive each other's nuts. You guys are literally going to put horrible thoughts in all these parents' minds, right, and we're going to have drama breaking out practices. We're going to see TikTok videos of Karens like yelling and shit all over, you know, just like calm down. So
world
I was
star.
just like, yeah, exactly. I was just like, dude, listen, your daughter, if you're a coach, is kind of considered the golden egg. Kind of considered the golden egg. Sure. No coach who's not being paid is gonna bench their daughter and have her freaking bat last. No. It's just not gonna happen. No. You know?
I agree.
And most coaches, like I think like the coaches I had, and honestly, like Travis, like our coach, he is gonna make sure that they work their ass off outside of practice.
His daughter works her butt off constantly. Probably tenfold, dude.
Constantly,
for real,
constantly.
Even at practice,
she does
more push-ups.
She works like, dude.
She does way more push-ups than any other girl.
Yeah, you guys.
I'm gonna give it to Travis. I'm gonna give it to Travis. Cal's gonna be a badass, dude. Cal's gonna be a badass, bro. She already is, and she's a sweetheart, bro. She's got the perfect blend. Yeah, dude, she's a total.
Our coach's daughter is the sweetest girl
100.
I think I've ever met in my entire life.
Genuinely.
Yep. And but at the same time, she also like she works her freaking ass off. She works. I was going to cover the push-up thing too, dude. Like the entire team gets punished once in a while and has to do push-ups, or maybe like Zeva will mess up and they're like, "Hey, drop down and give me 2 or 3." I swear to God, I don't think I've ever been at a practice where Callie didn't have to do 5 push-ups. You know, Travis has a very short fuse with her, but you have to.
Well, all the girls. He's fair. He's pretty like that with all of them. Though.
Yeah, but I think he's a little bit more on Callie, and I think he would even admit that.
He is. He demands. He expects a little more.
Yeah, because he wants her to set the example, right? And so he can't be easy on her. He's got to be harder on her.
Yeah.
And so I had a coach when I was younger. I forgot the guy's name, man. I wish I remembered his name, but he had a son, and like I'm telling you, dude, his son was maybe undersized. But that kid hustled more than I think any other baseball player I've ever met in my life, dude. He set the example. Right. He never talked back to his dad, and he was like just set the example because his dad, and like his dad, we're talking like you compare him to Travis. This other guy's way more of a hard ass than Travis. Like Travis, honestly, he's pretty mild. Like if you've been around like travel ball and you've been around like, I'm not gonna name any names, but there's other coaches out there that are way harder in this area than Travis. Travis is still pretty nice. Like, he comes unglued a little bit once in a while, but never to the point where you're worried. I'm never worried about Travis. Nah. I trust him 100%. You know what I mean? And honestly, I kind of wish he was a little bit harder on. But
there's a couple coaches out there that are like psychotically quiet. You know what I mean? And they're like,
yeah,
and they're just like, ooh, ouch. Yeah. Everyone heard that stare.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm really hoping we can get Travis on here. The thing is that like you're talking about like when you're dealing with like, rec, but also like with travel ball until you get to pay coaches, you're dealing with coaches that work. And Travis works 2 jobs. He's like kind of running 2 companies and freaking going to practice and doing all these lessons on the side. But
we can have him call in, dude. It'll happen.
Yeah, dude, we're trying to get him in here. It'll happen Wednesday. I'd like to get Gary Hoops in here too. Gary's dude, Gary is freaking hilarious.
Dude,
man.
we do. We need to get Gary in here. We got so much time. We're gonna have a great. We're getting ready to start. So something else we're gonna talk about too is things to look forward to. We're getting ready to start playing ball. This weekend actually.
Yep.
Don't want to change the subject too fast, but the girls, we're gonna be tied up. The weekends are gonna be busy.
Yep.
Our Saturday shoots are gonna not be so much, right? Because we're gonna be at the ball field again.
Oh, speaking of getting busy, one of our fans reached out to me,
got busy,
and just hired me as a hitting coach for his daughter.
That nice. I don't want to do no names.
I
nice.
won't give a shout out to him unless I have the first lesson with him tomorrow night after practice. And if he wants me to give him a shout out, I will. But hey, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you. Looking forward to it, man. We're gonna turn her into a beast. But yeah.
Are you gonna use the
swing analyzer? We're gonna talk about the swing analyzer here in just a second. No, Zeva actually lost hers, and so we will. No, dude. They're not cheap, and you know what? I'm blaming her, but maybe I lost it too. So whatever. It's lost. I'll have to get another one. But
a little arrow. You have a little geotag.
But let's just cover just a little bit more of the softball drama thing, the do's and don'ts and stuff like that. All right. So parents, you definitely want to be careful when you're online talking. Okay, because if you're not really paying attention, you might think that you're in some group that nobody else is in, but you don't realize maybe
it's a pretty small community.
Yeah, it's public.
Yeah.
Right? Or maybe somebody knows your name and they're from another team and they see it. You just never know. So all I'm saying is like, listen.
Or your friends have a podcast about it and then they're going to see it because they're we're in every private group.
Yep, exactly. But listen, everybody gets upset. Everybody at some point in time gets pissed off of the coach.
Rightfully, dude.
Rightfully, pissed off of some of the other players.
Yep.
Rightfully, but a lot of times it's wrongfully.
Yeah,
because you're assuming something without talking to the coach.
Yeah.
And if you just talk to the coach, he would explain or she would explain what's on their mind. Yeah. And then you'd be like, oh, that makes sense. God, why did I get
a lot of times though, but not a lot of times, man. Because I've been in the situations and you have too, where you're just like, dude, this makes absolutely no sense. And I'm not talking about our coach. I'm not talking about any coach, but I'm just saying we've all been in that situation, including our coaches. Everybody's been in that situation where you're just like, what the heck are you doing, man?
Yep.
This is wild. And you just want to leave.
Yep.
So like everybody's human and we're all make mistakes.
Yep.
And so our coaches make mistakes too, man. And we got to give them grace too.
But hey, real quick, what I was trying to say earlier, which I forgot about, but listen, if you're going to post online, post either using a nickname or post anonymously in the groups. Then you can get freaking constructive, feedback or just feedback in general without putting it out there. Yeah. Without putting it out there. Yeah. And if something happened that day, maybe wait a few days before you freaking talk about it or something. Yeah. Or change it and say, hey, we were in bracket play on Sunday and this happened when it actually happened on Saturday in pool play. So just be smart about it because those groups are great. There's a lot of people that can help you out, like can help and talk you off the ledge and like give you like some insight on what's going on. But if you just come in hot, you're going to make mistakes. You're going to get exposed, and you're going to have egg all over your face. Yeah, Yep. Which on a different subject, but similar subject. Here's a question that I think a lot of people are eventually going to run into. As parents of talented athletes who love the game, especially if you're one of like the weaker players, perhaps, and you're getting like benched a lot, you're going to start thinking, how can I get more playing time? Well, obviously, if you're going to go talk to the coach, you ask them, what kind of drills at home? What kind of things can my daughter do to get better to so that she can get more playing time? You don't try to ask for more playing time. You try to ask on how they can get better. Okay, that's one side of the situation. The other side of the situation, this is the part that I think a lot of parents need some advice on. How to pick up for other teams. And let me tell you right now, if you're on a C team, they may not care that much. But once you get onto those B and A and like gold teams, oh, they freaking care, bro. They freaking care because there's four reasons why they care. One, they're worried about their player getting injured, especially if it's one of their starters, right? Two, they're worried that the other coach is going to try to recruit you. And I got to tell you, almost all the time, not all the time, but like almost like the vast majority of the time,
that's probably the big scare.
Especially if you play well, they let you know you have a home if you ever need it. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
You know, another reason why is because they're worried that that the other team is going to scout you, right? Because they may like, let's say you're a catcher or you're a pitcher or you're a center fielder, or I don't know. They're going to scout you. They're going to know, especially if you're a hitter, they're going to know your holes and stuff like that. Yeah. So, and let me tell you, scouting, even at the 10U level on the A or B teams, it's a real thing. It's definitely a thing at the 12U level, and then there on out. And then the last thing they're worried about is if you go out and you pick up and you like tell everybody on the team you're picking up, right? Then what happens is everybody else tries to start picking up, and then they have to worry about all those things with everybody else, and it just slowly breaks down the freaking team. So now listen, coaches can't stop y'all from picking up. They can't stop you.
Maybe your coach doesn't care.
Right? But there's a
talk to your coach first.
But yeah, exactly. There's a right way to do it and the wrong way to do it. And then like thinking about like last year when we had different people picking up, the wrong way to do it is to not talk to the coach about it, you know, and to have them find out secondhand. And then it seems like you're doing some shady, slimy, like back alley deal, you know. Definitely talk to the coach about it. I mean, honestly, the best way is to have the player talk to the coach about it.
That's what I was just getting ready to jump in there and say, honestly,
100%.
The best way to do it is just that, you know. And I think another thing that they do kind of worry about too is they don't want your child to get coached improperly.
Oh, that's true too.
Especially if you're playing on a team. Maybe you're playing for a team that doesn't play the same style or the same kind of. Your coach definitely does not want your kid getting coached incorrectly, and that could happen on purpose. That could happen on purpose, because I'm always suspect of that sort of stuff. But I'm just saying it normally wouldn't, because generally in this, I'm just gonna say, in the circumstances that I've seen, usually a player picks up, someone knows this kid is a good pickup player. They're, you know, we need a pitcher, we need a catcher, whatever the deal is. You know, and it's usually a pretty decent thing. And the coaches, if it's a good coach that you're picking up for, they're going to probably know this whole thing too. And I think that's a red flag. If the team that you're picking up for, you know what I mean, just doesn't even care, just like, you know what I mean, it's just like whatever, that's kind of, you know, maybe, you know, I mean, I've even heard of certain situations where the coach actually asks the other coach, you know what I mean, and sometimes that might happen, and that's probably a great situation too.
That's preferred, but don't do it after the kid already said they're gonna do it.
Sure.
Make sure that the other coach asks the coach before you commit. Yeah. Because once you commit, it doesn't have the same amount of respect. It's still disrespectful. It's like, hey, I'm taking your player. Anything you want to tell me about him?
And there's certain circumstances where, you know, it happens and it's a good thing, and that's that. And then there's other cases where, you know, as a father, you just want your kid to get reps. You know, maybe your kid's not the starting player on the team, and maybe the kid, you know, at the end of the day, and this is kind of you got to make that right decision for you and your kid, honestly. And I think the point here is just to talk to your coach. But there is certainly there is certain circumstances where, you know, maybe your kid's not getting the reps. Maybe that's just the case. And we have to remember too that, like, and especially at this level where I'm at, where you're at 12U, if it really should be at this level about player development. Number one, that should be the number one thing that we're doing is player development. We're trying to develop good softball players. And during that process, we hope, and generally they do, they fall in love with the game. And we do too. And that's where we're at. And that's what happened.
Yep.
So we're kind of new at this too. This is our first run at this. So this is just stuff that we learned, and we're going to learn more along the way.
Yeah. Yeah. Lastly, about pickups is he was kind of touching on this. You're kind of touching on this is like, if your player is a player that's getting a lot of bench time.
Yeah.
As long as you do what we say.
Yeah.
And like,
it shouldn't be a problem.
And be respectful and come to your coach and, or talk to the other coach and say, hey, I'd really like to do this, but would you please contact my coach? If that coach is worth a freaking damn and he wants your player, he'll contact the coach and talk to him. All right. And then more than likely your coach is going to be happy that he freaking did that. It wasn't some shady thing. And because you're a bench player and not getting the reps, he's going to want you to get more development. He's going to be like, yes, go do it.
Help me out, coach.
Yes.
Your coach is going to be like, 100%. Help me out, coach.
100%. Now on the flip side, if you're a starting like ace pitcher or something like that, or you're like the starting catcher, right? And you're thinking about like this is the extreme flip side, and you're trying to go pick up for a couple games earlier in the day before your team plays that day.
No,
and you're not, and you're not going to freaking tell the coach until like later on, like that day that you picked up. Bad decision.
Especially if your team wins that game.
Oh yeah.
Because your pitcher fucking pitched a no-hitter.
Yeah.
All right. Because it's going to be on every form like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And it's going to come around like as big as you think. So that's the big jump. And I think I want to touch just one more time on that ting, ting, ting. Coming from Park and Rec to Travel Ball, the community is much tighter and it's not as big as you think it is. Like it's a pretty small group. Like you see the same people throughout the year.
Everybody's connected.
You see them. You see people. You're in Oregon City, and all of a sudden you see, hey, I think you're over at D-Bat. You're seeing kids all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So speaking of which, hey, shout out to the Bucket Dad fans that saw us.
Oh yeah. So we went to to go out and support some people over the weekend, and while we were there, apparently somebody was.
This would be rad if we got just destroyed in the comments right now. This would be rad. If anybody has any on this, would be rad if we got destroyed in the comments.
That would be funny.
Yeah, it would. Anyways, go ahead.
But apparently we had some fans that were like hiding out in the bushes, taking some pictures of us, like 45 minutes apart from each other.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh look, it's the Rob father. Oh look, it's Big Dad Chad and like his family.
Yeah.
And what happened was they're probably going to and from something, had something to do. They didn't have time to come on over and say hi, but basically they got turned on to the podcast through one of our team parents on our team, and so they sent the freaking picture over to be like, look who I saw at this tournament, blah blah blah. And so then I got these pictures, but like, hey, what are you up to today, dude? And I'm like, oh my god, what's going on?
I should have went with it. I should have been like, I'm trying to get Abby to pick up for any team out here.
With a sign, we'll pick up for sunflower seeds.
We'll pick up for any team.
Yeah. So whoever you are, thank you for
up and say hi, man.
Come up and say hi.
Yeah,
those are great pictures, by the way. We're definitely going to put them like on our on our socials and stuff like that. But next time you see us, come on over, say hi. We don't bite. We shower. We're nothing to worry about most of the time.
For sure.
Right, but that was pretty flattering, man. It was pretty flattering. It's like, oh, look at that, dude. But one more thing.
Yeah.
So new parents. My advice to you is, and I think Chad's probably advice to you too, is like when you get in your first season of travel ball, when I was 10U or 12U or whatever, tread lightly, do a lot of listening, not a lot of talking.
Yeah.
Because you might think people are your friends, but there are some cutthroat parents out there that will do anything possible to sabotage you and your child to make their child have better opportunities. Don't give them that ammunition.
Yeah.
So sit back, relax.
Yeah. No trash talking on the internet.
No. And also, like when you talk to somebody, you pretty much tread lightly.
Yeah.
Because
or just beware of the consequences.
Yeah.
Hey,
you better be able to, whatever you say, if that person ends up freaking finding out and coming and talk to your face, you better be able to back that up.
Yeah. And if it's real and it's factual, well, please let us know so we can blast them.
Yeah. Straight up.
Because we're not scared. Very fitting for the time.
Yep.
Very fitting for the time.
So, so just be careful. And the other thing is that, as far as your kids go, you want your kids to be as inclusive as possible to everybody on the team. The last thing you want to have happen are cliques to form. And
And
they do eventually, like there's like somebody who they can really trust, but just make sure that, like, for example, if like the kids are, you know, let's say they're like 12, 13, 14, and they now have cell phones and they're chatting with each other. Try to make sure that all the girls who are on the team, if it's less than half the team, not a big deal. There'll be little like pods of like 2 or 3 or 4, maybe 5. But once you get up to like 6 or more girls on the team, the whole team needs to be on that chat. Otherwise, girls are gonna feel left out.
They get in their feelers.
You know,
and
the whole idea is to try to build one cohesive like machine, one badass system, one badass team, and it's kind of hard to do when you're leaving 2 or 3 or 4 girls out of the chats. So just keep that in mind, because everybody knows that social media runs their life now, man. You know what I mean? And some girls are going to be left out because they simply don't have phones. But if they have a phone, they have the ability to participate. Please try to be inclusive, because your team will get stronger.
And man, I think you nailed it.
Yeah.
Boom.
So we got some gear we're going to cover today, bro. We got some crazy gear. Now we've been talking about some of this stuff for a while. Chad actually just I'll let you show it off. Chad just bought this thing for his daughter, not the bat, but it's a bat, but it's badass.
I'm not even sure, to be honest with you. I'm not the one to showcase this, because I'll tell you a little bit about it. Oh, it just started blinking.
Okay.
Oh, you gotta hit the bat. You gotta hit the bat.
Oh, okay. All right.
So what it is, from what I understand, is a swing analyzer.
It's made by a company called Blast Motion, and we will have an affiliate link in the in our description for Amazon if you want to purchase one of these. It just gives us a little slice of your purchase. It doesn't cost you anything extra. The prices on these things don't really change. They're usually right around $150. And if you're going to get one, which you should get one, I have one for my daughter. These things are phenomenal. You're going to want one for your daughter eventually, especially if you want her to go to the next level, because D1 coaches are going to want the freaking swing analysis data when they're looking at the analysis for your daughter when she comes in, when they're basically recruiting her. They're going to want that stuff. And like high-end teams like the Bullets and like the Lady Hawks, they require it because they prescribe homework with these, because there's an app on your phone, it communicates with them, and it tracks all your swings, even air swings.
Yeah. So that's exactly what I was going to say. It's funny you say that, right? That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yep.
This is what I know about it. My daughter had it sitting on the counter, and I'm like, oh, what's that? And then all of a sudden, it's just got to put it to her bat, and then she's trying to Bluetooth it. And I know it was expensive. It's a good thing this bat, we got a hookup on this bat, but this is a DeMarini Future. So you're looking at probably, honestly, $650 worth of gear right here.
Yeah.
Not included.
Yes, sir.
Not included. All the time going in just to get to develop the swing. So that was one of the things we were talking about coming up. 12U, and this is kind of a iffy, touchy subject. There's really no need, they say, to, spend a bunch of money on high-end gear at this age, right? Because you don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to stick with it. And honestly, they grow so dang fast that, for instance, Abby has a DeMarini Prism Plus that she has had for almost a year. She's already grown out of it.
Oh, yeah.
And it's already too short. So that was right there, a $450 bat that we did pay full price on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But it was before we had our hookup at DeMarini. Guys, we didn't pay full price for this one at all. But anyways, the thing is if you can avoid spending a bunch of money on high-end gear, and we talk about it all the time, get some stuff on Marketplace. But here's the truth, dude, and it's the same on our team, and it's the same on most teams, bro. If your kid doesn't have a DeMarini or a Ghost, she's one of the few kids on that team that doesn't at this, even at this age. Yeah. All the kids are Gucci'd out, man. We're just we're at that spot in 2026 where it's like I don't want my kid, my daughter, I swear to you, my daughter's bag is got to be worth close to $1,000 at this point, and more probably. Yeah, probably. Yeah, at least. Yeah, I guess 3 bats in there.
At least $2,000.
Yeah.
At least $2,000.
Yeah, brand new catcher's gear, brand new cleats, brand new bats.
I heard somebody a while back making a joke, like, "Hey, look at all the mortgage payments rolling down the freaking sidewalk."
Yeah, and but the thing is if she would be kind of left out if she didn't have all that top end gear, because all the girls got it.
Yeah, and it's
but she works her ass off for it. And you know what? And my kid, honestly, man, she collects her own money. She does work for herself. You know, she's got little side gigs that she does to get money out of me and Grandpa and anybody else who wants to take her.
One of her side gigs is not giving you back the change that you give her to go get food on the way home from practice.
It's a hustle world out there.
Yeah.
But she's paid for a lot of her own gear. But anyways, yeah. So try not to buy all into all that stuff. But I understand if you do, because I certainly have.
Yeah. And I haven't very much because I got deals on just about everything, but there's certain things that, like a swing analyzer, you're just screwed. You're not going to find a discount code.
Yeah.
And maybe you might be able to buy one used, but chances are if it's used, someone returned it, there's some kind of connectivity problem. Like, you know,
but even good deals on a brand new bat, they're still expensive.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
A smoking deal on a brand new DeMarini bat
it's
is
like
still
$400 instead of $450.
Or even we can get it, like, if you know somebody, you might be able to score one for under $200, 100, maybe $150. That's a great deal, dude. That's still a lot of freaking money.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. That's it's more money than I had when I was their age. I'll tell you that much. Even if you know you get an older model, an A2000 or an A1000 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Still awesome,
over
$100, 100%.
Yeah,
and that's still a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly.
Still a lot of money.
And then you start talking about everything else, the Rip It face mask, the helmets,
the face mask, the helmet,
you know, and then
the gloves,
the
cleats,
the balls. The balls are not cheap, bro.
Oh, man.
The balls. If you want good balls, like if you're like a father or a mother for a pitcher, you got to buy good balls.
Yeah.
Like leather balls, not the freaking composite ones, which everybody says, oh, it's real leather. When you look at it, you find out it's not real leather. Yeah. Those things are slippery, man. You got to have good seams. They got to be real balls. And those things are freaking not cheap, dude. Yeah. You know, dude, just the machine balls. We're not talking about the jugs. We're talking about like real machine balls.
Even jugs.
Jugs
even
too.
Jugs are expensive.
But like the Kevlar seamed softballs, those sons of bitches are over $10 or almost around $10 a piece when you buy them in like, you know, a pack.
Yeah.
You know, it's just, oh my God. So
we get 30 or 40 of those in a bucket, right?
Yeah.
$300 worth of balls right
plus
there.
The bucket.
Boom.
Plus the bucket.
Plus the machine.
Bucket,
plus the machine that you got used on Marketplace for $150, and you had to buy a battery for it.
And
plus
a new wheel because it was like
right.
You know,
so I mean, so just keep that in mind. These are the things coming up from into travel ball that you're gonna get it. You're going to go there.
Yeah.
You're going to go there because honestly, come tryout season, if you're not into extra practicing, like practicing outside of practice, and that's where you really are learning, to be honest with you.
That's where that's where you develop.
Yeah.
The coaches kind of like put it all together at practice,
absolutely.
But you develop outside of practice.
You need to be especially, and in fact, there's not even any sense even talking about it. If you think you're going to be a pitcher, or if you think you're going to be a catcher, and you're taking lessons. Period.
And honestly,
yeah.
If you're a first baseman too, because you have to get those picks and those scoops down.
So that's what I was. That's what I was going to get.
He's doing that right now at home right now.
Outside hitting lessons, you need them.
Yep.
Fielding, you need them.
Yep. Running, sprinting,
running.
You know,
cleats, you need them. You need the new cleats.
Yep.
So I would say that's a big commitment right there, guys, to think about if you're thinking about coming up into travel ball. If we're still on that subject, we were kind of coming onto this, but if you're, all this gear that we're talking about comes with $1.
So this is the thing, this swing analyzer, the reason why you're going to need it is because it maps. You can see right here, if I haven't showed it already, which I probably already did, but it shows you can see in 3D what the swing looks like. It pops off of here. This thing pops off the knob, and then it pops out of here. You can charge this thing wirelessly, and it's usually good for like maybe about 2 days of swings before it rattles around. Like if you have the bag in like your car or something like that, it might. So
should you leave it on or take it off?
No, you should take it off. You should leave it on because if it gets bumped, it turns on. It starts flashing green right there on the end. Right. You can see that, and then. But these things work really, really well. This is a Generation 3 swing analyzer. For example, we are in an indoor barn that has like. It's probably like 70 feet, maybe 80 feet max from wall to like where we sit, and diagonally across the barn, Zeva was using this, and I was still tracking it from like that distance. So it works for quite a distance. But when you get this stuff, you're definitely going to have to, at least I'm pretty sure you have to like update the firmware and stuff like that to make sure that it connects properly. But it's great because not only do you have all the analysis, and you got like tons of metrics, but you also have drills that come with it. You can, your coaches can prescribe homework. So it says, okay, when you're at home, I want you to take 300 swings, and I want to show me the data when you come back, because I want to see like your bat angle. I want to see your freaking MPH. I want to see like your power joules. I want to see all the stuff, And then the other thing it does, if you have, I think this only works for iOS, and so like a tablet. If you have a slapper as a daughter, this thing will track slaps, and it will take and do 3D motion cap, like 4D motion cap with a video, and apply that to the swing analyzer, which I haven't done yet, but I've seen videos of it. It's badass. Right. I almost went out and bought like the oldest tablet that I could get that would work with it, just so I could do that, because I'm like, yeah, that's awesome, right? So, anyways, this thing is great. Colleges and universities use it. They make it for baseball too. Yeah. But if you want to like check out the app, I'm not so sure you can go through it, but again, it's Blast Motion, and this is called a swing analyzer. And again, the link is down below in the description. It's an Amazon affiliate link. Click on it, add it to the cart to make sure that we get the affiliate link for it. Because if you click on it and then you navigate away and come back to it, we're probably not going to get any credit for it. But trust me, you guys are going to want this. So just go get it right now.
What else you got?
I got this little baby right here. It's more like a big baby.
Oh,
boom!
It's a big fly. It's a big fly swatter.
Yep.
Electric.
Yep. So I'll have a link. I'll have a link in the description below. It's a SCO. Anyways. So there's a bunch of different manufacturers that make this, and for those of you who haven't figured it out, it's basically to help hit fly balls. If you have like a bad shoulder as a parent, which a lot of us have bad shoulders or bad back, it's really hard to get the balls up in the air. And if you're trying to hit them off a bat, that's even harder. All right. This basically takes the guessing and the embarrassment out of like sucking at hitting pop flies. And man, this thing is. It's tough, man. It's super tough, and you can absolutely launch balls with this thing. So I definitely recommend it. It's super freaking tough. It's super rugged. Now listen, there's a bunch of these on the market. All right.
Don't be fooled.
This is the one you want. It's not the most expensive. It's not the least expensive. But the thing that I don't know if our viewers really know about me, and my wife hates this. My wife absolutely hates this. I am huge on reading reviews. Like I will exhaust the reviews. If there's like less than 1,000 reviews, I'll probably read over half of them.
Wow.
I mean, I get crazy on the reviews because I've been burned so many times on products. Right. I don't do it anymore. Because whenever I get burned, I realize that if I would have read the review, I wouldn't have gotten burned. So now I just read the reviews. Well, I read like probably 60% of the reviews on all of those rackets that are out there on Amazon. Yeah. And this one by far was the most reviewed. I came across a couple reviews on this one of parents just like us that literally bought every one of those rackets, and they all failed except for that one. Right. And it was still going strong. And dude, I haven't had any heavy duty for sure. Yeah, I haven't had any problems with it.
I would think this would play a badass game of birdie. Oh yeah. Dude, you could bam! Shaniqua. Wow.
That's right, dude. Shout out to Steve Reynolds. We're having him as a guest on. When is he on?
Coming up on just a couple days on Saturday this weekend. Dude. Saturday the 11th or 12th? The 11th.
Yeah.
Saturday the 11th.
Man, so Steve Reynolds, if you guys don't know, which you guys probably should know, but Steve Reynolds is a legend. He is a Oregon Fastpitch Hall of Fame coach. He used to coach for the Red Heat and was instrumental, I think, in that organization. Director of Red Heat. And man, that guy he does pitching lessons, hitting lessons, any kind of lessons pretty much. And the guy's been around for a while. I think his daughter played in freaking college and stuff like that.
Definitely been around since, I think, I don't want to give too much of the story, since the late 80s.
Yeah, 88. Yeah. But hey,
here on the West Side.
We're gonna talk with him. We're gonna take a deep dive with him. We're gonna cover the history and everything. And what he thinks about modern fast pitch rules, and the
Shaniqua. Comment if you think you might know what the Shaniqua is.
Show them the Shaniqua.
All right, I'll show you what a Shaniqua is. The Shaniqua, and I don't know why. So I did ask him, by the way.
Don't tell these people yet.
No, it's not.
Yeah, we'll say it, but just show them.
It's just a hitting drill where you hold
inverted top hand,
bottom hand like that, and as you come through, my right hand kind of pushes.
Pushes and throws.
Pushes and throws, and you really got to follow through with your left hand. So your left hand your arm should come way up. And you just Shaniqua right on through it. Yeah. And so it's funny. So now when we're at batting practice,
Shaniqua that shit.
Yeah, I go, Abby, break out the inner Shaniqua. Yeah. And it's like, crack.
That's awesome, dude.
She goes, I need to, what she say? I need to, I don't know, seance or whatever, my inner Shaniqua. I go, well, you got it.
Man.
Yeah.
So
Steve Reynolds coming up. That thing is rad, man. I've never seen that, but that is pretty rad.
Yeah, and it's not that heavy. You think it's heavier than what it is. It's actually it's heavy duty, but it's actually kind of light.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're excited to have Steve on here pretty soon. Steve is a living legend.
Yeah, man, and just a nice guy too. You know, and so he's got a lot of insight.
He's also worked with Abby a lot too in the past. So you know him on like because you've been to a bunch of his clinics and stuff like that.
Yep.
He's great. Now, moving on. What's in the bag?
What you got in the bag?
All right, so everybody knows that watches the show that your daughter got a 2000 glove.
Right.
Well, it triggered a freaking ripple effect to Zeva, and Zeva crushed her fundraising last time, so she has some extra freaking money.
Going back to not spending too much money on our kids for gear,
dude. And like this is the thing, man. It's like last season,
customized.
There was somebody that was on the team that's on the team anymore, whose grandfather had a connection for Wilson gloves. And I freaking asked Zeva, I was like, hey, do you want a Wilson glove? No, I like my glove. You don't understand. You have a connection.
I like my Rollins.
Connection for like around $100 for an A2000. No, I just like my glove. And I knew I should have bought it. I knew I should have just bought it anyway. I'd just been like, eh. But then I would have brought the wrong color and everything.
Well plus not only that, her little hand. That's the bad thing about him. Luckily, Abby's is a little bit big because I have full confidence that she will have that glove for her career. I don't think her hand will outgrow that.
Yeah, I don't think
because
so.
my hand fits. My hand fits
care of it. Josh Jarvis will do the relacing on it and all that. Shout out Josh Jarvis.
Yeah.
He'll probably relace it in like a couple years.
Yeah.
But for those of you that end up having to relace, there's a reason why you have to relace gloves.
Okay.
And the main reason why you have to relace gloves is because
weather.
You used oil.
Ooh.
You used oil. You got them wet. You stretched them out. You haven't put glove conditioner on them, you used oil. And oil slowly breaks down the fibers and it makes things floppy, which is why Zeva's glove is floppy right now. All right,
especially if it's dyed, if its laces are dyed. Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I found out that Wilson, if you dunk a glove, it avoids the warranty. But they tell you, like the Japanese like super glove guru guy that's on their site, I forgot his name.
Talked about him.
Yeah, but you run warm water down the fingers and down the sides of it, but not in the holes, and that's how you start, working the glove. Well, I'm also like I'm all over TikTok. I have a bunch of different playlists and stuff like that. I'm constantly on there learning. Well, I found a dude that like did a break-in on an A2000, and he freaking straight up showed me that if you use water, that those freaking laces will freaking bleed. They'll bleed the color, and it will freaking
That's crap too.
Make I know you pay $400 for a custom glove, and you can't make sure my laces don't bleed. And the last thing I want is freaking pink, a light pink or a light green pastel laces on the freaking glove.
Yeah.
So I can't use water. I mean, I could use water, but I'm not going to use water.
Okay.
What I did was I used this stuff. And you guys have probably seen this before.
Suntan
we got a link. It's yes.
It looks like that coconut suntan lotion, dude.
It's Sarna. It's a leather conditioner. All right, I've used this a lot. It's really good stuff. It really holds the moisture in pretty well. It's not really oil based. So you have to apply this probably I'd say at least once a month, because it keeps the glove like kind of like soft and tacky. So because when the gloves get dry, the balls like slide right out of them.
That's where I'm at with Abby's. That's where Abby's at with her glove. It's still real new. It's developing a pocket.
Yeah.
But I feel like the leather is still so hard and like plasticky, kind of like.
Yeah.
Like it'll slide right out.
You gotta apply this. Like you can definitely tell the difference at Zeva at first base when she's like had this on within the last couple of weeks, and when she hasn't had it on for like about a month. She's like, dude, you better put this shit on before you go back to the next game. Anyways, there's an Amazon link in the description if you want this stuff. Again, doesn't cost you anything. Just give us a little slice of your purchase, like 1% or something like that of your purchase. Yeah. These things are like I don't want to say like $17 or something like that, but go ahead, grab yourself some of this. And so what I did with Zeva's glove is I basically doused the glove. Because a lot of people, they put it on like a cloth and then they wipe it on. And I was like, I'm not going to put this shit on a cloth. It's too damn expensive for me to put on a cloth and have like 90% of it absorb on the cloth and a little bit of it absorb on the freaking glove. So when we were out watching those games last weekend, I took it and I basically just just squirted it on the palm of the glove, and I used my fingers because I was like, come on, man, this stuff can't be toxic, dude. And I looked at it, and, it's good to go. Except obviously, don't drink it, but I took the stuff and I just massaged the glove with my fingers, and then I let it sit in in our wagon in the sun. And we're in Oregon, so it wasn't like blazingly hot. I'm not saying go do this down in Arizona, but
right.
And I did that and liberally put it on there, and dude, you could tell that it absorbed it like way better than any glove had ever absorbed this from using a cloth, right? Yep. And so now
it's always better to use your hands. Even so, I do my work boots, I use my hands.
All right, so I decided, you know what? I'm going to do a glove break-in because I'm going to do some unorthodox stuff because I found these new like ways to break in a glove because I don't want to void the warranty, right? I don't want to use water, and I know how tough A2000s are. Everybody talks about those things sometimes taking 2 or 3 months to break in.
Yeah.
Well, I found some videos, and I am going to do a video on breaking in Zeva's glove, and I'm using a freaking massage gun.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Massage gun with multiple little pieces to basically shape it. And then the other thing is, because I'm a serious bucket dad, I got a pitching machine, and I got those balls.
Yeah.
So after I shape it, then I'm going to freaking run like 500 freaking 60-mile-an-hour freaking balls through that damn thing and freaking just do it that way, because they say the best way to break into gloves is to play catch.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just gonna snap, and I'm gonna do time lapse, and I'm gonna put together a video for everybody, and you guys can see how I do it. But then afterwards, because remember, oil ruins the glove. Usually what I used to do is I used to oil the glove afterwards, because like with mink oil or something like that, maybe glove oil, because the oil keeps the freaking rain off of it, right? Throughout the winter. But the oil also makes the glove floppy. And, like we talked about with Josh Jarvis, you have that double welting on the outside. The last thing you want is your A2000 to get floppy. So I looked it up.
No one wants a floppy.
There's a solution. Now, Nakona makes this stuff.
And if your A2000 is floppy, message me. I got something for that.
Yeah. So Nakona, which is a glove manufacturer, they make the stuff that you can't buy on Amazon. So I found through trusty old AI that there is one other company that makes it that is like just as good. It's on Amazon, and this is it.
Oh, I bought that. I bought that for my boots, bro.
Okay.
You know where you can purchase that in person?
Where?
I'll drop their name right now. Coastal Farm and Ranch.
Oh, look at that.
Yep.
All right, but you're not going to go to Coastal Farm Ranch.
No,
you're going to click on the affiliate link beneath in the description below.
Yeah.
But what this is is basically wax. It's a wax that you use on the glove, so it's not super oil based, so it doesn't like make your glove floppy over time. And you just put it on the glove, and it repels the water and all that without destroying the freaking fibers that like normally oil does.
Exactly what I use in work boots.
Yeah. Well, he can swear by it. Yeah.
I had never thought about it. Why didn't I think about using it on Abby's glove? I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, anyways,
rad.
We're gonna finish it off with that thing, and hope to God that glove, just like Abby's, lasts for hopefully through high school.
I don't see why it shouldn't. Or why it wouldn't.
So, anyways.
Awesome. And you're gonna break that into a video for us on that, Rob,
dude,
and capture all that on the action cam.
Yep, I'm gonna do it all,
and maybe I can come over and help catch some of those.
I'm even gonna
put it on a time lapse.
That'd be awesome. I was even actually gonna get myself some beer too, and have a beer every every 150 or something like that.
Ooh, nice.
So at the very trying to
take one in the face.
Yeah. So
I'll show you, Mom.
Yep. Oh my God, man. But
what's up with them Whalens, bro?
Shit. I don't know. I was getting into stuff. For those of you that didn't see, my mom got hit by a pitch, and not hit by a pitch. She got 2 feet behind the hitting net. Well, my daughter was like cranking off home runs, and it was a Bownet, and it put a freaking baseball size freaking knot on her head. We had to go to ER. It's in another episode. What episode was that? I don't know, 2, 3, 4, something like that.
Somewhere in there.
Anyways, it's the one that if you look at the episodes, it says like restricted. It's because like I had to pixel out her blemish, but I didn't want to get flagged. So that's the one with it in it. But she's doing fine now. She does still have a mark, but the thing is that
I'm sorry, dude.
I just don't know if it's from the softball or from the freaking counter when she fell afterwards.
I still have the picture. I don't want to pull it up. I don't want to.
No. So, but yeah, dude. Hey,
shout out to your mom. She's a soldier.
Is there anything else you want to cover about etiquette or drama or anything at all?
I think we nailed it, man. I'm excited. We got some things that we're looking forward to. Just remember, just be cool on the field. And I was gonna, I had something in mind. I think what I was gonna say something along the lines was, don't overreact on your first, don't react on your first thought, right? Like when you're
Yes.
feeling like your kid isn't getting the attention that you think she deserves or whatever. I believe that there's a good time and a place to bring that up, and I believe that we're all human. And maybe you have a good point, and maybe your coach has a good point. So, anyways, not to go back and retouch on everything, be cool on the field. No one likes to, actually, I will tell you, I love the drama on the field because I want a podcast about it.
Yeah.
Just to be for the spiciness.
Mm-hmm.
But everybody else, nobody wants to see that stuff. And don't act like an ass in front of your kid, man. Don't be that guy, bro. Don't be that guy.
Yeah.
And there are those guys.
Yeah.
Don't be that guy, man. And also remember, this is one thing we didn't touch on. Sorry to say it. Game Changer is always recording, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Game Changer is always recording.
And those microphones go a long way.
They do. They do.
And to touch on that point a little bit too, even if Game Changer isn't even on, you never know who's watching. Yeah. You don't know who all these people are. For all you know, that mom that's sitting over here with her 2 kids, and like her mom is a coach from another team that just came out to support one of their friends and knows your coach on a first name basis. And if you say something negative, freaking before you even leave the field, your coach knows about it.
A situation that I found myself into, a principal of the high school team, the principal of a different high school. Sure, I went to a mountainside. It was a mountainside, right? Went up to a game, watched Lucy play last year, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'm sitting in the bleachers cheering on my girl Lucy, right?
Yeah.
And I'm talking kind of smack. You guys obviously can tell. My filters are pretty good these days, but sometimes they get crazy.
Yeah.
And anyways, I'm talking to this lady. Blah 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 blah. I'm kind of talking smack. Turns out she's the principal of the away team. Just coming to see their team.
You're talking shit about the team,
and I'm talking smack.
Oh no!
Well, guess what team it was? Hill High.
Oh no!
Guess whose backyard that's in? That's my backyard. So my daughter would potentially. Now, granted, I don't even think that's the same. This is not. I'm not sure it's the same program. It could be, but anyways, it happened, bro. And luckily, I refrained myself, and we had a good conversation, and it was a good thing. But knowing me, I'm glad I roped it in. I didn't talk too much smack, and it was a good conversation. But you have to be mindful. You don't know. That's just a little example there. You don't know who you're around, man.
You never know.
And your decisions, like we talked about with Jarvis, man, your decisions could affect your daughter's playtime.
Yeah.
So if your girl's not getting any playtime, maybe it's something to do with you, Dad.
And to finish this up, there's one last thing I want to say to these parents. Be nice to the umpires. Okay, be nice to the umpires. Number one, you're gonna run into them again. Number two, they can eject your ass, and if they eject your ass and it gets back to the freaking director, which it will, it's gonna look really bad on you and your daughter, and they may not give you another offer to come back. All right, it looks horrible. So be nice. Be sweet as pie. Don't argue.
Because you're not going to win.
Snide comments.
Have you ever seen anybody win? Have you ever seen a parent win against the umpire? Not many times.
No.
If your coach needs that, that's part of that etiquette. If there's a deal with the umpire, you can time and place tell your coach, hey, and let your coach have those words.
Yes. I have 100% seen games won or lost based on how the parents are treating the umpire.
Oh, yeah.
100% several times. Now, on that last note, before we go, what about that umpire that got clocked in the freaking head over the weekend? Wow.
Yeah, man, he did.
So we're watching this game, and this field that the games are being played at, this place has netting that spans all the backstops, right? And so what happens is that when there's a ball hit, sometimes they say heads, but usually they don't because there's netting everywhere.
Yeah, the net pretty much spans all the backstops.
Yeah,
so any
and there's
fly
like,
ball
there's like
comes,
little holes here and there where the balls can like fall out, but there's like collectors, you know.
Yeah.
So this other freaking field, when we're right behind a backstop or right next to the backstop of another field watching, because we're pitchers and catchers dads. If we're gonna watch the game, that's where we're gonna be. That's I mean, you'll know that if you're in Noonan travel ball, the outfielders' dads go out by the fence, the infielders ones, there's a place where like everybody goes. Anyways, out of nowhere, this ball comes in, not hitting a freaking net, just straight up drops out of like Jesus himself dropped the freaking ball out, like, and it hit the freaking umpire. And I'm gonna see if I can make this sound. It hit the umpire and it sounded like this.
That was awesome, dude.
And this umpire absolutely turned into a fucking cartoon character.
Wow.
He goes, whoop, 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 whoop. I swear to God, I saw the birds like and start flying around his freaking head. Slam down on the ground, dude. And I was like, holy shit, that just happened.
God.
Holy shit, that just happened.
Yeah, right.
And he's down there on the ground. And of course, it wasn't like people walked. People ran. Like all the coaches, everybody came. Everybody took a knee, and he's down there on the ground. And like he started moving. I was like, well, thank God he's not like convulsing. Because I'd be like, oh my God, brain damage, dude. Because he didn't have a helmet on. He just had a freaking a mask on, but like no helmet. How much you want to bet that guy got on Amazon that night and bought a freaking helmet? Guarantee it. Yes. Well, anyways, dude, he was down. I want to say for like 15, 20 minutes, dude. It seemed like 45 minutes.
If anybody knows who that coach was, that umpire was.
Yeah, man. We felt for you. Yeah. And hey, obviously, if he's down for 20 minutes, he's not umpiring again. Not that day. So they brought in somebody else. But man, it was a little scary there. When he got back up, he didn't have a freaking Rob's mom goose egg on him, but he had a little bit one. So
we've seen the police show up. And arrest a coach.
Yep.
We've seen umpires leave basically on a stretcher almost.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Actually, there was another umpire that went down. I don't know if I was on Blaze yet, if we were still with Bombers. He was an older guy. I think it was just fall. There was no. This was basketball. I take it back. This wasn't basketball. We had a coach who was an older guy, and he fell out. Okay, he was all right. Thank gosh. But just during the game. Just fell.
Just fell. Or something?
Just like passed out. Had to sit down.
Oh shit.
Yeah. These guys are volunteer. Well, I don't know. I think the umpires might make a little bit of money, but for the most part, they don't do it for the money, guys. They're doing it because they love the game.
Yeah.
And they don't need to.
They definitely do because they love the parents.
They don't need to take any crap from you, man. They don't need to take any crap from you. And
but then we've also seen I don't know if you were there last year. We saw umpire get freaking wheeled in like on a freaking dolly.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
They're like wheelchair style. They like wheeled him in and like
Stephen Hawkins.
Like
the Stephen Hawkins of the Umpire.
Dude, almost, man. But they wheeled him in. They sat him there, and he was sitting there. He didn't have a cane, but he didn't move.
Wow.
He didn't move. Like he was there.
Wow.
And so like shit was going on around him. People were sliding into home, and he was just like sitting there. He's like not moving around. It was crazy shit, man.
Talking about his son.
Seeing that, and then of course we've seen the drama.
Hunter.
We've seen all kinds of freaking drama. And I'm not going to go all the way down memory lane, but dude, hey, be nice to your umpires.
Be nice to your umpires.
They all know each other. They're doing the best they can. They make mistakes. And you know what? Most of them actually do care. They may not see it right away, but if they can, they're going to look back at it on a game changer and see if they got the call right or wrong. And like they don't always get it right. But you know what I can tell you from my experience, as long as your coach isn't a dick and nice to them, they will try to make up for it later on throughout the game and try to even things up.
There's an umpire on social media. I believe his name is the Mic'd Up Ump. And he is funny, bro. He's like a little league ump.
I think I've seen him.
Dude, he is like a Hispanic dude, kind of like a,
Okay.
He almost looks like a street beef kind of cop almost. And he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bro, he talks the hardest smack on these kids, dude. When they're like, we
gotta get him on the podcast. He's like, he's like podcast gold.
He'd be super podcast gold, bro. He talks the hardest smack on the kids. We'll have to look up some footage. But anyways.
Yeah.
Anyways, guys, thanks for digging in, man. Another episode.
Yep. And good luck to you guys that are starting the season.
Yeah,
we're coming in hot. So hope you guys are ready. Hope you guys are practiced.
Yep.
Make sure your girls are hydrated and rested because it's about to get serious.
Yeah, and you might see us out there eventually one day. We're gonna have the balls to we're gonna have
the balls in the bucket.
We're gonna have the balls in the bucket to go ahead and shoot some episodes out on the at the park.
Yeah, at the Diamond. So if you see us, come say hi.
Please do.
You might even get some swag out of the deal. All right.
All right.
All right, guys. Peace out.
Later.